Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Washington Chess Congress. It is the second round, and I am playing the top seed. I'm actually playing the number one player of the tournament. That is Zhou Chao from China, a grandmaster who has actually a massive success record. You can check his Wikipedia page. He's played on the Olympic team of China. His FIDE rating is 2630. And before the game, I knew very, very little. In fact, I predicted this pairing. The pairings for this round did not get texted, did not get emailed, and were basically posted about 15 minutes beforehand. I myself calculated, based on the standings of the first round, that I would be playing this player. And I saw that he likes to sometimes play the Slav, sometimes he likes to go for d6, e5, e6, d5, whatever. But I figured we would get something unique. So I didn't do a huge amount of prep, and lo and behold, he plays the Dutch. And this is interesting because I don't know which Dutch he's going to go for. I don't know if he's going to go for the Leningrad. I don't know if he's going to go for the classical. I don't know if he's going to go for the Stonewall. So I'm thinking at the board, I'm like, all right, c4. However, right here, homeboy started already playing some crazy mind games on me. He had shown up to the board, and two of my small plastic bags where the chess pieces are, basically this, not a McDonald's cookie bag. It's like a plastic bag. We're just laying on the side of the board. And he just took one and left. I don't know what he thought it was. I thought maybe he thought it was garbage. He just took it and left, after making his first move. I'm sitting there and then he didn't come back with it. So at some point I had to go out and find it. He just left it on the table. I was like, homeboy just thought this was trash? It's damn. That's messed up. Anyway, I played c4, and then here he played e6. So he didn't go for the Leningrad, and I figured I would just play, solid mainline stuff. e6. Now, I've actually never faced the Dutch that he played with bishop to b4, bishop c3. I've never faced it over the board, and maybe in Blitz I've faced it just a few times. It's pretty rare. And I also didn't know if he was going to play a Stonewall. But his idea is to go to b4, to take on c3, and now it's kind of like a Queen's Indian defense, where black gets a bishop out and then tries to control the e4 square, but black has a little bit of an expedited Queen's Indian, has already played f5. So I thought that the critical way to develop here was to put my bishop on g2. I was anticipating that this is what he was going to play. There's a few other ways to play this. Sometimes white even plays a3. Just to not allow the bishop to come to b4. But like I said, I don't know too much about it, so I was I'm just going to play solid, and we'll learn the theory after the game. Bishop b7, and I castle. And I figured, he's going to castle. And what I know about these positions is that the move d5 for white is extremely important. If white can play something like d5, then if black takes on d5, this can be a total disaster, because this bishop on g2 is much better than this bishop. And moves like knight to h4 very quickly come into consideration. You'll take back on d5, you'll take on f5. I mean, if your opponent lets you, which he won't because he's a 2630 FIDE rated grandmaster. But that's kind of the idea. And then here he played a move that absolutely fascinated me. He played here, which is a wild move. I figured we were already out of theory after bishop e4. Maybe here, short castles by black has been seen 50 times, whatever. But he played this. I was like, what? So I started thinking, right? I said, what is my plan? And also, what is his plan? Well, his plan is he wants to play knight c6. He wants to put the knight behind the bishop. And the thing is, if I just go here, well, we just trade. I mean, that doesn't really help me. We just trade pieces. He just trades some pieces off. And, what I know about these positions is that if I can somehow get this bishop without getting rid of... Wow, that is a really baller diagonal. And friendly reminder, use code Congress. All my courses 33% off. Just while I can't draw diagonals. So if I can get rid of this bishop, then my computer's also starting to be very loud. The fan is starting to be very loud. Computer, can you please be quiet? If I can get rid of this bishop, then I'm going to be in good shape. Without getting rid of my own bishop, which is obviously on g2. So I was like, all right, bishop a3 first. So he can't castle so easily. Okay. Knight c6. Bishop h3. I thought this was the most clever thing ever. I'm like, yo, I'm going to go knight d2, get this bishop. If he takes me, of course, I'm very happy. I have two bishops versus two knights. I'm just going to open up the middle of the board. He played knight e7. I played knight d2. And here I was like, yo, I'm a genius, which sometimes you guys think I say sarcastically, but actually I came up with a really nice idea. F3, I know Ben Feingold says not to do it, but, and then E4. And the idea is that he can't really take my pawn. Because if he takes on E4, like this, and then I take, and then he takes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trade rooks, leaving his queen pinned to the knight. Then I'm going to trade knights. I'm going to go queen E2, bring my rook to F1, and my position is looking beautiful. I mean, look at these bishops, right? Look at my rook. Look at the queen. And we just have a very good position. Like, everything is active. Everything is doing stuff. Everything is wonderful here. So I was like, this is good. I mean, I'm very, very happy here. But then obviously he didn't go for that. He thought for a bit himself, and he played the move D6. Solid. I mean, it's a solid choice. He's choosing not to engage with me, right? And we have a critical moment of the game. What to do? Hold on. Let me close ChessBase. I don't know why ChessBase is like freaking out. Sometimes when I leave the engine running on ChessBase, it has a bit of a meltdown. I apologize. I don't know why. I just don't want to make this full recap, and then the fan is just completely losing its mind. Okay. Anyway, on my critical moment of the game, I have like 5 different moves. I can play rook e1, queen e2, queen c2, queen b3. I don't really know what the next step is in my position. Like, what do I want? And it's tough to figure that out, to be honest. Like, for example, rook e1, right? Okay, he can't really take me, but he's going to go like queen d7, rook e8, or rook d8, or whatever, maybe c5 to block out my bishop, which is very common in any Nimzo position where white has the doubled c-pawns. For black to at some point play this move c5 to play against this, and especially if my bishop is out there, it's not going to be doing a good job, which also I was trying to contemplate, should I play c5 at some point? But c5 is just silly. c5, I have a chance of really, really, badly damaging my own structure, I thought. But actually, c5, I mean, the engine doesn't completely hate it. It actually thinks it's a relatively logical move. Like, for example, DC, DC. This looked a bit dumb, I thought. I wasn't really happy with this. But, engine always finds a way to, like, tie together even the stupidest looking position. So I decided to play queen c2, which I thought was logical because I'm applying pressure over here, and I am stopping any and all counterplay on a4. This is super important, and I felt like I was playing pretty logically up until this point. Like, anytime he's going to put a queen on any of these 2 squares, the queen wants to go to a4. So queen c2 stops his counterplay and continues to apply pressure and defends my center. And then he played c5. And then here, again, another very critical moment. What do I do? Obviously, I can't take and just completely kill my bishop forever. I felt like applying this pressure for a little bit. There's a free pawn over here. Takes. But I evaluated that this was simply too dangerous. There is no need to go pawn grabbing while one of my bishops is a moron, and the knight is not that good. And then he can very quickly completely turn the play around on me. Or with a move like queen e8. Queen e8 is a really nice move. He can't play knight e4 winning material because I have check, and then I take his knight. But this actually sets that up. Attacks my queen with the rook and this, and he also has queen a4. I'm actually in trouble. So it's interesting, taking that pawn is a little bit too dangerous, but also going for something like d5. Here I correctly evaluated that this is not good because he just takes, gets rid of his weakness, and then plays something like this. And if he can trade my light-scored bishop for his garbage light-scored bishop, he's just making a massive improvement to his position, and if I don't trade, then he beats me to the e5 square. See, what I can do is I can open up this diagonal for my bishop, but now he beats me to that square, and he just blocks the middle, and he's still got a very decent position. So I was like, all right, well, I can't really go d5, yeah? I mean, e5 is stupid, so what do I do with my other pieces? So I thought, what if I take on f5? But I don't take again. And essentially, I'm saying his knight, his bishop, and his knight don't really do a whole lot. The only plan that he has here is in the long run to apply pressure to my c4 pawn with knight c6, knight a5, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the center as is, and I'm going to play down the middle. So I'm just going to play down this open line. So I very quickly ran to the middle, as did he, and then he played the move g6. So g6, I thought I was smartly getting out of him, because now f5 is protected, but the knight can no longer go to g6 ever. And again, this is move 18, and I have spent a bit too much time getting to this point for a couple of reasons. But the most important being, I'm playing someone who's 2630. That is basically it. And as much as it pains me to say, that's why the name of the video is what it is, that's really it. I'm only down 15, 20 minutes because I'm in my own head. And as much as I'm trying to get out of my own head, I'm getting into my own head even further. But it's part of the process, all right? And, you know, I have a positive outlook on this entire journey, and I think we're going to get there. It just really sucks we're just not there yet. It's going to take a long time, maybe years. Well, no, 100% it's going to take years with an S. But I'm down too much time. And so, because I'm down too much time, I have 25 minutes to make the next 22 moves to get to time control. And the position's a bit frozen. All I know is that I don't want to play d5, because then he just has a direct line of play against this, and I really don't have much play. I would really love if I can somehow get my knight to e6, but that's really far-fetched. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to change too much about the position. I'm going to play just a very solid move, not do too much, let him maybe take a risk. Queen d3. When I should have been thinking of, he only has one move in this position to get out of his bind, and it's to trade rooks with me. I thought he might delay trading rooks with me because the position is too dry. And it just, if we trade the rooks and I just keep being solid, I just thought, would he really do that? Like, to take the game to, like, that degree of equality? Because he's trying to win, obviously. So I just played queen d3. It didn't even occur to me to play this move. This move aligns the queen with the rook, and, I mean, this is not going to get taken because the queen gets trapped. But it's difficult for him to actually liberate the e7 knight, because I'm always threatening to take. And if this, then I just go back, apparently. And the engine says, repeat moves, stupid. But the engine's stupid. So, yeah. You know, and so I was like, all right, I'm going to be solid. And then he goes here. I was like, really? So again, I can't tank all my time, right? Because I still have to get to move 40, and I have 20 more moves to make. I have two plans. Plan one is to somehow bring this bishop back and get it to g5 or h6, because it's really not doing a whole lot where it is. The problem is that to move the bishop a second time, I'm going to have to move my knight. The problem is that the second I move my knight, I lose defense on c4. So he can quickly go for a line drive bishop move on a6. And that is why I'm also constantly thinking about whose position improves if the bishops are off the board. Because if bishop a6 happens, that's kind of annoying. Now, yes, in all positions, I have bishop f1, like just clear everything off except the bishops. I always have bishop f1 protecting my stupid weakness on c4, and my center space kind of stays together. Now, if I can successfully play d5, just imagine, knight e5, and this is not hanging. Let's just say it's not hanging, and this knight gets forced back here. This is a massive improvement for white, because this knight is not putting any meaningful pressure on the queen side, and neither is the other one. If I can negate both knights' presence, that is what I should be after. But again, it's tricky to do all that. I mean, and so when I started thinking, I was like, well, if this knight gets to a5, easy peasy, I trade it. I just trade the knight and potentially improve my structure. So to get d5, f4, I obviously have to start with f4, which is fine, because knight e4 is not a thing. Bishop g2 now will always kind of have pressure on this diagonal. f4. I actually still thought everything was totally fine. f4 is already the beginning of problems. He just trades both rooks. He didn't have to. Apparently just playing for knight a5 was very good. I don't exactly know what the difference is, but again, you know, computers. But he just trades both rooks. And again, I'm not playing this game for a draw, but, well, like, we got to trade the rooks. All right, otherwise he takes me and takes this. So boom, boom. I'm like, all right, well, I can go d5 now, knight a5, but here's the problem. If I do this, thinking I'm very clever, then this looks, I mean, this is a huge improvement, because c4 is no longer a weakness, a2 is not a weakness. This is probably still a draw. It would be very difficult to win this with with white, even though I've improved my position, because it's so closed. Even though there's two bishops, I have 7 pawns on the board. So I'm like, all right, oops, there's a problem. If d5, knight a... Oops, sorry. If d5, knight a5, knight b3, he has this. He just completely sacrifices this structure, but he beats me to the e-file, and I have no meaningful way of stopping his play down the e-file. Again, the problem is this bishop. The problem is this bishop. So I go back. I'm like, all right, bishop g2. He just goes knight f6. I'm sitting there like, you know what? I can't go here. Knight a5, bishop a6 is coming. What do I do? So I go here, and he does this. And again, I don't have a huge amount of time, so I'm sitting there thinking between d5 and h3. And I'm like, again, whose position improves without a light squared bishop? Now, if I play d5 here, his knight struggles to get back into the game a little bit, and we keep the bishops on the board. Of course you play d5. But then bishop a6, knight b7, knight a5, he still gets his optimal setup, pressuring me, and I'm going to have to be pretty passive. And I wasn't convinced that that was the best way to go. So I played this move, and as I'm sitting there, I'm going, wait a minute. Of course the position is much better for black if the bishops are traded. Of course. Because I lose my only active piece. And he just does the very simple and cold-blooded king f8. And I have no play. I have no play anymore. At least if I had closed the center, I can still argue, like, his knight is bad, even though it's not. I mean, he's just very quickly getting it into the game. As long as he controls my counterplay down the middle with king f8, queen e7, he's still playing this for an advantage because he's forced me to commit to this. And again, I've been trying to not commit to that all game because now he's going to get a6, b5, pressure on d5. But again, I mean, I had like 5 minutes and I just played a move and I was like, oh, wow, yeah, this is really bad. So bad. Remember that plan from a long time ago? Queen a4? Yeah. It's interesting, you know, and he beat me. He just consolidated his king, and between the two threats of queen a4 and queen e7, queen e2, I resigned here. You know, this game is so weird because I feel like we were on the same wavelength. I was just unbelievably slow, which resulted in blunders later on. But in most games against GMs, there are like 3 critical moments. 3 to 4 critical moments. And if you get the better of those 3 to 4 critical moments, it's not smooth sailing toward the end, but it's you're in the clear. Now you just got to be careful. And so I had my critical moment. Queen c2 was an okay move, but maybe c5 is just very thematic. I mean, I have to do a deeper dive on Stockfish. Normally I do like, you know, this recap Stockfish, then I do a deeper dive. c5 really strikes me as a super logical move. I don't know if it makes the position easier or harder to play, but yeah, I mean, what I'm going to go do now is kind of take a look at the best way to get an advantage against this version of the Dutch. That's what happens when you play GMs, you know. Guy played something that I've maybe have played 5 to 10 times in my entire life, period, in Blitz, and never over the board. In retrospect, you know, could I have played the Staunton Gambit? Could I have played one of these more closed maneuvering style lines of the Dutch? Sure. Yeah, sure. And I considered it, but I figured let's go for a main line and see what happens. And well, that kind of showed the level difference of this game. Anyway, appreciate you all very much. Loved all the memes and comments on the first video. You guys are hilarious. Some of you thought that I lost and just commented without even watching. Oh my God, Gotham. I'm so sorry, dude. Take a rest if you need it, man. We all love you, dude. Gotta watch the video before you comment, bozos. And I need to go rest. I'll see you all for round 3. Use code Congress, 33% off. Peace out.